Rough, short start for Triston McKenzie in his first outing of the year. How concerned should we be with his first outing of the year? The bullpen came through. We'll talk about their hot start to the season. And Guardians offense in a good spot so far to start the year. Will it continue on today's Locked On Guardians?
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show today. Right now, Cleveland is 3-2 in the division, and that's currently good enough for second place. Just as a heads up before we get all doomy and gloomy. But before we get into that, I want to thank you for making Locked On Guardians your first listen today and every day, wherever it is you get podcasts. Make sure you go back and listen to tomorrow's show or yesterday's show, I should say, because numbers stated many of you were frustrated after yesterday's game and popped over it. I am Jeff, one of the hosts here, have been here since the inception of the network. And before that, I was a lead draft and prospect writer. Okay.
I'm Justin. I'm the other host here since the end of the 2022 season. I have also been covering Guardians / Indians prospects over not quite 20 years, 17 years now, going back to 2007.
Yeah, we both started that year.
Yeah, for a couple of years, I was the managing editor of Indians / Guardians in Baseball Insider. Done some freelance work for the News Herald and the Morning Journal covering the Guardians. So here we are now covering the Guardians' first game of the road trip, or the first game of the series in Seattle. Before we get into Triston McKenzie's start on Monday night, which was definitely a downer, let's start on a positive note. I like rolling out the lineup here in game 2. I know some people aren't really thrilled with Austin Hentges getting the at-bats, but encourage that Bo Naylor is DHing while
I'm not.
Hentges gets in the lineup. You're not encouraged with Bo Naylor DHing? I am.
No, agreed. It's good to see Naylor there. I'm encouraged to see Naylor. I don't love Hentges. I'm having internet issues tonight, people. I'm going to apologize right now for them. Deluge of rain and basement flooding. I don't know what contributes to what, but it's kind of a pain here right now. I'm glad to see Naylor as a DH. He's not had a great start to the year, if we're being honest. He's been one of the team's least productive hitters. He'll be fine. I'm not worried about him. I don't love quite the sheer amount of Hentges we're getting. I know they said that Hentges, no one's going to have a personal catcher this year, but I wonder if after the good start, Shane Bieber is like, no, Hentges is my personal catcher. I kind of wonder if that's why he is already back in this one when they're not facing a lefty.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, obviously, if Bieber said he likes to work with Hentges, that's one thing. But look, Hentges is going to play once or twice a week anyway. You're very rarely going to see a David Fry start at catcher, like only if they absolutely need to give someone a day off or someone's banged up. I don't think it's going to happen a whole lot. But any day, if Naylor is not catching, if they can get his bat in the lineup at DH, he'll get it going. Like you said, I think we're both feel pretty good about that. His strikeout in the first inning in game 2 was a terrible call. So I think he'll get the bat going, but I like you don't have Miles Straw in the lineup anymore. So you don't have two black holes between Hentges and Straw, taking down the bottom of the order, sinking it where you have two automatic outs. Is Hentges going to be an automatic out? Probably.
Yes.
You might get a lucky home run or a lucky extra base hit here and there from him. But if the alternative is keeping Bo Naylor in the lineup, and obviously I guess if they were facing a lefty, it might be David Fry. That worked out fine in Oakland. But if Hentges is going to catch, this is why I like carrying the third catcher, because this gives you the flexibility. And we said before the year, if you're going to get Bo Naylor enough at bats to be an impact hitter this year, then you have to carry a third catcher so you can DH him. So I'm okay with that. And essentially the same lineup as a night ago. You've got Rocchio in there, and you've got Freeman hitting fifth, which, they're splitting up. Vogt said early on he didn't really care much about the righty-lefty matchup thing in terms of like lineup balance, but that has been the case so far. And Jimenez stays in the 2-hole, and then you've got Freeman hitting fifth, which obviously had a good night on Monday. We'll talk about that too. But no, I like that a little bit. And if this team has to get the best out of Bieber no matter what happens this season, whether it's trade value, draft compensation, or just contending this year. And if Hentges helps that, you reduced one of your lineup draws in Straw by getting him off the roster. So you have one less spot in the order that's an automatic out. So I think that helps. Triston McKenzie, though, this has been not a great start for the Guardians starting pitching to start the year. Bieber won 6 innings the first night, and that's been it. Allen went 5. Ivy did not go very deep because of control issues pitching with the wind. And then Carrasco went 5, so that was okay. And then obviously McKenzie, not great. So it's been a lot of short outings for the starters so far this year. McKenzie's by far the worst. Maybe not in terms of results. Like, he didn't give up a lot of runs. Oh, he gave it 4, so it was 5. But I'm sorry. He only had 2 walks and 3 1/3. But only struck out 2, and the velocity was down. Yeah. So
he only had 2 pitches over 91 miles in the 92 range. He was not fully.
Yeah, he averaged 90.5.
It was a bad performance. And I'll just say this: like, it is humorous. People love when I talk about this. How many people I see who just assume like arm surgery for him, and also that after 2 games, Cade Smith is the greatest reliever on this team. I'm not saying that Cade Smith hasn't been fantastic. He's been good, and McKenzie was not like terrible in spring. He wasn't great, but few pitchers are. But this was a bit of a concern just because of everything that happened last year. You have to put it at a 5, and when McKenzie was at his best, he limited those walks, and I don't know why. It feels like of all the guys they have, that he is the guy that walks always come back to hurt. And, the 2 walks, and then the local kid, Canzone, who played at Walsh, gets the home run. And that from there, Seattle was off and running at that point in time. It was they needed someone to go deep. Thank goodness the bullpen bailed him out. I know Sandlin walked in another run. That's the game-winning run in both games, has been walked in different points of the game. But, the bullpen has done its job. It's just the bullpen is overexposed because the starting pitching has not done its job.
It's really just been 2 blips on the radar for the bullpen. It's been, Scott Barlow has been shaky so far, and he probably should have out there for a second inning. And then Eli Morgan was worked 3 out of 4 days or whatever it was. And then obviously Sandlin walked in that run too. Not great there. That run charged to McKenzie though. So all ends up back on McKenzie in that game. Yeah, I think a 4 or 5 is a fair place to put it. Look, is anybody getting excited about, we're excited for Cade Smith. He's looked fantastic and he's a great kid. Great story, but it's a couple of games, and it's the same for McKenzie. It's 1 start. So as we get 5 games in the season, you can't get too high and too low because these are all short samples. They're 1 outing for pitchers. They're 20 at bats for hitters. You just can't jump off a ledge this early on, and we see that a lot early in baseball season. Is people tend to overreact early on because they just don't have a lot to go on. So we'll see what McKenzie walks.
Back. Everyone's excited the baseball's back, and we don't have as much we can.
They're excited to complain, even though they tell us we're too negative.
Yeah.
They're excited to complain about something. I'm not gonna overreact to McKenzie's first start. Like, there are signs of concern, obviously. Like, the walks are when he's walking guys, that usually suggests that something's not right with him. And my real concern with him comes from going back to spring training, where he talked about in some of his later starts how the ball wasn't coming out of his hand the way he liked. And I think Zach Meisel wrote or tweeted something about his final start in spring training. If all goes well, he'll start the 5th game of the season. And I'm like, if all goes well, that means something's not right. So the fastball velocity, that's always a concern for him, because he has throughout his career dipped and dived where it's been, 92, 95, and then it's 90, 92. And to be fair, McKenzie has the stuff to get by at 90, 92, because he has extension on the velocity on his delivery. The curveball is a good pitch. The slider was a good pitch for him the other night. He just has to command the ball, especially when you're throwing 90, 92. He can get by with the velocity. Is he the 2022 version of Triston McKenzie at 90, 92? No, he's not, but he can get by, but he's got to throw strikes. And that wasn't the case in his first start. So yeah, the velocity people are going to point to, I think, but if McKenzie is locating where he was, he doesn't give that 3-run homer. He doesn't have the walks, and things look okay. And then, after that, it was 1 more run that was walked in So he had one bad inning, which happens to McKenzie. I feel like he does have a lot of starts where one inning the control is gone, and he gives up a home run because of a big home run because of the control, and then other than that, he's usually fine. So I think, yeah, I'm about a 4
Agreed.
right now. Yeah.
I'm closer to a 5 just because I was really concerned about him throughout his minor league career, and he's had the reoccurring health. So that's why I'm just a little bit higher. Obviously, hopefully it'll be okay. You never know how it's going to be. A week ago at this time, we were, juiced up for, or not a week ago, but last Bieber start, all the positives. And then he's fine so far, but only one swing and miss. So we'll have to see, as we track all of these pitchers, it's always a game to game situation day to day. And we need to get something like 10 games to even have a sample size that matters.
Yeah, especially for starters. So
yeah,
can't get too high, too low a weekend of the season. Let's get through the first month and then really see what happens. All right, we do have some pitchers to talk about who are going to be rehabbing. We want to get into the bullpen. That's been really exciting so far. And then the Guardians offense, honestly, came back on Monday night. I think there's some really intriguing signs of hope that we can talk about, and some other guys who are not playing early on that we have to get into on today's Locked On Guardians.
Let's talk about our good friends over at PrizePicks. I've talked about this many times. When you are playing daily fantasy, you are going up against people who know the sport better than you, know the minutia, know it better than Justin and myself, frankly. They have the spreadsheets, they have, the I don't know if I want to say AI, but they have the advanced computing ability to know who is the best opportunities. They are going to have an advantage. PrizePicks balances the playing field. It's just you versus the numbers. It's that easy. Pick more, pick less. That easy. You're going to choose 2 to 6 stat categories and then pick more or less. Spring training is over and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond to your PrizePick entries, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, never be RBIs, or first inning runs. Take more or less and add them to your PrizePick total. Yeah, don't do RBIs. That's dependent on guys in front of a player. That's not one to take. You want to take things that are dependent on the player's success. Download the app or go to the website and use the code LOCKEDONMLB, all one word, all lowercase, for a first match deposit up to $100. Download the app, use that code LOCKEDONMLB for a first match deposit up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy at PrizePicks.
You mentioned before Bieber was not getting a lot of swings and misses. Just struck out Julio Rodriguez swinging on a slider. Fastball, change-up slider as we're recording this.
Third strikeout. He got 2 in that inning, right? I think after I said that, he got 2 strikeouts in that inning. So Shane Bieber's terrible. He's not going to get any more strikeouts because apparently I have that power today.
Yeah.
Yes.
He got Rojas called, but Rodriguez swinging on the slider, which was a really good pitch. Still relying on that changeup quite a bit too. The changeup so far, only thrown 3, it says. Now it must be 4 because he struck out, or he threw it to Rodriguez, but he is still throwing it, so it must be a good one. And we're seeing a little more of a spin tonight. The slider's been there for him. Overall, good stuff. I mean, the Mariners have not really hit the ball hard off of him just yet. Really, Mitch Haniger's line out that was lucky that didn't do too much damage there, or any at all. But other than that, it's been pretty good. Speaking of pitching depth, it looks like Xzavion Curry and Ben Lively will both go on rehab assignments this week in Columbus, weather permitting, because Mother Nature has not liked the Midwest. It never likes the Midwest, really. And didn't like Columbus. So far on the season, Columbus had the season opener in St. Paul snowed out, and then their home opener on Monday night was rained out because of tornadoes in the area. So best wishes anybody affected by that. Been a rough few months in Columbus in that area by weather. So tough luck there. So not a lot of options for Ben Lively to pitch with the weather like this.
Here's my question:
Guys just consistently running out of options.
One thing I'd like to talk about with this is a lot of people don't understand how rosters work. And listen, if you're someone like, don't talk down to me. The number of people who are like, no, they should send down Beatty. It's like, with the way this team is set up, you can't send down Beatty. You can't send down Carrasco.
Well, he doesn't have options.
Yeah, none of them have options. You can't send down Lively. He has options in the real world, but not in baseball. So
you acknowledge it.
It's one of those situations where, Curry's probably going to start in AAA. He has options. I think they want to keep him as a starter in case something goes sideways. He is the next guy up, especially with Cantillo hurt. There's no doubt that Curry is your next starter up. But someone's going to have to go down for Lively. And they're not going to send down Eli Morgan, who's been with this team for 3 years. They're not going to send down Nick Sandlin. So it really does. And they're not sending down Timmy Herron, who's their only lefty. So when Lively's ready,
we'll have to make the decision again when Hentges comes back.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make a Herron decision when Hentges comes back. But like, I guess my question is, when Lively's ready, are they cutting someone or are they sending down Cade Smith?
It's 2 outings. And eventually teams will get a scouting report on Cade Smith. I said in my scouting report over next year in Cleveland that Cade Smith has the Trevor Stephan starter kit. He has the splitter that looks really nasty. The Mariners really had a tough time with the splitter on him on Monday night. He has a riding fastball that has extension, that throws 97 and plays up because of his delivery and his long arms. And he's got a slider that probably could use improvement. It's not as good as Stephan's, but it's okay. If he keeps pitching like this, you can't send him down. Curry for sure to me is starting in AAA, and I feel bad for Curry because he pitched well in the role they asked him to be in 2023, and the way the health has just turned out so far, they need him to go to AAA just to be on call. Like you said, they don't have Cantillo for 2 months, maybe longer. There's nobody on the 40. Like it looks like Zach Kent is going to be in the bullpen. So they don't even have a starter in AAA right now to call if anything happens. So it has to be Curry until something changes. Because Lively doesn't have a baseball option and Beatty doesn't have an option. And who knows what'll happen when Gavin Williams comes back and Hentges. But again, as we talked about on the show before, other people talk about, these decisions always seem to make themselves. Like in 2 weeks when Lively comes back, I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I'm just saying, like, these things tend to work themselves out. So they've gone to Morgan early, and it seems like Vogt has kind of latched on to Morgan at times, but the way things are going right now, I would send Morgan to AAA at this point because I don't think there's anybody else. Like Sandlin can get you a ground ball, which is why he comes in with the bases loaded. I don't know.
It feels like
over the last year, this team has done things
that,
differently than we thought. Like we didn't think Gavin Williams was coming up a year ago. There's a lot of things we didn't think this team would option or waive Miles Straw off the 40. So they have made some decisions that are not in line with their modus operandi. So maybe they send Morgan down. If Cade Smith pitches as well, I have a hard time believing they can send him down. So I could see it being Morgan, but it's going to take like, they're probably going to stretch Lively out a little bit in terms of length.
Yeah.
Just to give themselves an option. And, maybe Carrasco something will happen there. Or, we're worried about McKenzie's health. McKenzie might have to spend time just kind of building himself back up, or who knows. So like,
I feel like Carrasco might be the guy out if Cade Smith continues to play well. Cause
I think it's too early to make a call to DFA someone. It's too early.
He just didn't look good in that start. Like if you watched all of it, it's like, and everyone agreed in the comments, the big problem with him was like, he just was not, if he was facing a team other than Oakland,
the one start, it's the same reason we said with McKenzie not to overreact.
But it's different with a 37-year-old guy coming off of 3 bad years as opposed to the younger player. Like that's why I knee jerk with McKenzie. And if they don't have spots for guys, it's like again, they might need a starter.
How can you DFA somebody one start into the season when you already have no depth? I just don't think that's an option.
Because I think he'll clear. I don't think anyone's claiming that guy. Like I think
he's still off the 40 and he goes to AAA.
He's
still not an option for you. I don't know.
Then you still have the depth, but then you give him a chance to work on things, and he's still your depth guy. But when Curry's back, I think he's gone. As much as I love Cookie and as much as it was a fun story, he's just that start was. He is lucky that he didn't give up a lot more runs. I know people get mad with negativity, but it's going to be a hard situation because, in the next month, you're going to have to add 3 guys. So 3 guys have to go away. And you're kind of limited in who goes. And, I know it's not normally their approach, and we talked about them doing different things, but in general, baseball teams don't send down guys like Eli Morgan. Like he's somewhat effective. I mean, he's typically very effective in the start of the year. He's someone that they seem to rely on. It's like, I don't know. Like Herron could go down when Hentges is back, but you got 2 other guys, and it's going to be, it's a hard needle to thread.
Aaron's been good too. So
yeah, I know.
again,
It's like maybe Gaddis. It's like but he's been good as
I
well.
doubt it. Gaddis has been one of their best relievers too. I just think these things tend to work themselves out. Something always happens where, when somebody gets hurt, something happens, and the decision's kind of made for you. That's always how it usually works out. But
and Barlow also doesn't have an option. Someone brought that up today. I'm like,
yeah, he
doesn't have an
but
option.
They're not sending him down for what they traded for him. That's one thing we could say for sure. It's too early to overreact to any of this, to sit there and say, well, this guy was terrible, so send him down, whether it's Carrasco, whether it's Morgan, anybody. So let's see what happens over the next 2 weeks. I think it's still going to be probably 2 weeks at least for Ben Lively to, like I said, they're going to want to build his pitch count up just to give themselves the option. And then over the next 2 weeks, we'll see what happens. Somebody will play themselves out. Somebody will pitch themselves in. Somebody will get hurt. Something will happen. So the decision will be made for them, and they won't have to worry about it. And there will be no need to make a knee-jerk reaction like DFAing somebody in the month of April and killing your depth. All right, we got to talk about the lineup stuff. We didn't really spend enough time on the pen, but I think we've kind of covered. We'll give some guys their due for Monday night for saving the bullpen, and then talk about the offense coming back. And even though it was a little short, there are still a lot of signs to be encouraged about. That home opener is coming up next week. If you have not got your tickets yet, and you are one of the people who wants to be downtown, whether it's for the Eclipse, for the home opener, Game Time's a good option for you. Even if you don't want to go home opener, maybe you want to go see a concert coming to town. I know I'm going to probably use Game Time to go see the Black Keys in October when they come to Cleveland, because I've had a lot of good experiences buying concert tickets through Game Time. A lot of home openers are going on, so if you want to go see any of those and you have not got your tickets yet, Game Time is the way to do it. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And honestly, if you buy tickets anywhere else, you know the struggle. You put those 2 tickets into your shopping cart, you check out, and you're like, okay, cool, $40 a ticket. And then you get to check out. It's like $200. And you're like, where did that come from? That's ridiculous. Game Time has all-in pricing, so it'll show you the total up front. So when you get to check out, there are no surprises. And if you find the same ticket in the same seat and section or row for less, Game Time is going to credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying with Game Time. For a limited time, all of our users can get $20 off any MLB purchase of $150 or more in the Game Time app with code FIRSTPITCH, all one word. Terms apply. That's code FIRSTPITCH, all one word, all caps, for $20 off from March 25th to April 14th. Only download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Really great job. Oh, by the way, I want to let people know too, if you have Sirius XM, you can check out all the Guardians games on the road or at home on your Sirius XM app. Just look for Guardians on your Sirius XM app wherever you are using it, whether it's in the car or on your phone or on your computer. I've had it for a little bit too, and I do quite enjoy Sirius XM because there's a lot of nice options. Speaking of options, the Guardians bullpen pitched their way. No, not Ben Lively. No options. Hey, the Guardians scored. Speaking of which, we got a Will Brennan RBI.
He's having
single.
a really good 2 days. Like he got hosed yesterday. That's a nice.
I wouldn't say it was a Bo Naylor home run is why they scored. I'm sorry, that was not Will Brennan. Or is it? No, it's 3-0. No. Bo Naylor hit a home run.
Mine just updated.
Here we go.
Wow. Yeah, no, Brennan singled on a ground ball. So, and then Brennan advanced on a throwing error by Haniger. So, like, it was Brennan. And then the Naylor home
99
run.
miles an hour off the bat of Will Brennan, by the way. Yeah, he hit the ball really hard on Monday night, and he just unfortunately hit it to Julio Rodriguez, the last guy on that team you want to hit the ball to.
Yeah.
His expected batting averages on those 2 balls last night on Monday were like 800 and 900, and he had no hits. So tonight, of course, he hits a ball 100 miles an hour, but he only hits it 150 feet and he gets a single. So it all averages out, hopefully, for him.
Expecting batting average on that was 930 though. So
it was 590 tonight. 590 on that. Oh, you mean the first one?
Yeah, the first.
His second at bat. Is that his first? Yeah, his second. Okay, he had 2 at bats tonight. 930 and 590. So
he's got 2 hits tonight after having 0.
He's still hitting the ball hard.
Yeah.
Real quickly before we move on to offense, because I know there's some good things to talk about. You and I were both concerned early on Monday night that the way Triston McKenzie got knocked out, and the bullpen has been taxed, that they were going to send Cade Smith down just to bring up like Peter Strzelczyk, just to have a fresh arm. But credit
100%.
to credit to the Guardians bullpen and credit to Stephen Vogt. I mean, 4 outs from Sandlin. I know he walked 3 guys. That was kind of rough to watch, but he got 4 outs. Cade Smith got 4 outs with almost no resistance. Hunter Gaddis had a very quick inning
He's
throwing
looked good.
16 pitches. He's looked
really
great. He was still 98. And then
where's
came
our
in and got
everyday
2
or Dave
strikeouts.
Wendell? Dave, I want to see the comments about how good
no,
Gaddis
he
is.
doesn't have a good fastball. It's missing bats now.
Yeah.
So credit to the pen for getting the outs when they did, and for Vogt to kind of massage that situation, because Morgan, Barlow, and Clase and Heron all didn't pitch Monday, so they're safe for Tuesday. And then you didn't really overtax Gaddis. You didn't overtax Beatty. Sandlin and Smith obviously probably down for Tuesday night, but credit to them for coming through and really stepping it up and making sure that nobody had to be optioned because of a bad day for the pitchers. So that was great.
Yeah, bullpens. Like I said, we had that debate earlier because, frankly, the bullpen's doing its job. Like, the bullpen has been great.
It is.
It's been
They're just
really
being pushed too hard.
Yes.
Yeah. Offensive help. I mean, we talked about Bo Naylor's home run tonight already. Will Brennan is regaining some, much needed positive regression because of some bad luck Monday night. But, Tyler Freeman hits that home run last night on Monday night, I should say. And they were down. That they could have easily packed that in a year ago. If the Guardians were down, it happened a lot later in the year because I think we were kind of blinded by 2022 and all the weird stuff that happened, that, this team could always come back because for some reason they make a lot of contact and the ball falls in. And then the second half of the year hit, or just regression hit in 2023 in general. And they just, as soon as they got down 3-0, you were like, all right, well, this offense isn't built to come back. They were down 4-0, and they outscored the Mariners 4-1 after that 4-0 inning in the second inning after the Canzone home run. Naylor hit the blast, Freeman hit a home run, and Freeman had almost a game-saving play in center field where he threw the ball.
It was a heck of a play. I didn't think he had any chance. I was like, because he's not known for a strong arm. That was like one of the knocks why people didn't think he could play short, and like that was a heck of a play by him.
Yeah, and he looks great in center field. Like, honestly, you see him out there, and you just don't. It doesn't look like a guy who's never played center field before. He just looks like a natural.
Why didn't this happen earlier? Like, because we've been debating, like, okay, so he's not going to be a shortstop forever.
Right.
So it's like, why didn't we? So, and I want this to be a lesson too, to throw in some draft talk. Just try guys there. I have people still coming at me about Bazana stuff. It's like, put him at center field. It's not, the thing about center field is it's not always about foot speed. It's about good reads. And Freeman is making good reads off the ball. It's that ability. Yeah. It's about that ability to make a good quick read, good first step. That'll take you super far at that position. And listen, I was the biggest Freeman detractor and doubter of anyone, but walks, that home run was perfect launch angle. He's put in the work. We'll see if it continues. But right now it's like the walk rate, the launch angles. And guess what? Even if the walks decrease, even if the launch angle starts to slip, it's like what he's doing defensively is enough to keep him out there. So it's been a great, for everyone, myself included, who was complaining like, oh, they need to add a bat. Like, well, they added one, and maybe they were right. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I saw Mike Petriello from MLB.com and Savant does all that stuff. He mentioned something interesting. The Guardians, very strangely so far, and again, these are so small sample sizes, so let's not get carried away. But the Guardians have the lowest ground ball rate in the league of any team. They are
very
8th.
Weird. I saw that too.
They are 7th in fly ball rate. That's great though. You want to know what? Because it doesn't matter if you increase your exit velocity to 99, 100, whatever it is. Hit the ball on the ground. Chances are a good infielder is going to make the play unless you find the right hole. Hit the ball in the air. I know the Guardians don't have a ton of power, but I'd rather see them hitting fly balls than ground balls. I mean, I'd rather see him line drives too, but I'm just going to keep an eye on that and see how this evolves because that is fascinating. They have the lowest ground ball rate so far, but everything seems to look good. I mean, again, we talked about Will Brennan getting unlucky on Monday. He's hit the ball harder. Laureano's had some good at-bats. Naylor is obviously hitting the ball hard. Both Naylors. Jimenez is hitting the ball harder. Like, there are positive early signs we can't overreact to, but something you can at least say, okay, this could be fun to watch if, we just keep our hopes up as far as the offense. How about this real quick, Jeff?
It's a balancing act, right?
It is a balancing act. If not, I think I know some old baseball adages die hard, but I think the Memorial Day thing is still one of the things that has survived. What do you think so far about the lack of Estevan Florial? This is the third or fourth game now that they faced the right-handed pitcher, and he has not played. I don't. He has not looked good when he's played either. So, I know you overreacted to me. I think you overreacted to Cookie early. Maybe I'm overreacting early on Florial, but he hasn't played much, and I find that very interesting.
So it's a weird situation, right? So, um, if we go through the whole up and down thing with him, I know we're running low on time. It's like they make that trade and people get so excited and they're telling me he's a plus defender in center field and he's got power and this and that. And I was too negative, is what I was told. Then I'm like, oh no, he's gonna make the team because you don't trade for him and then cut him based on spring training. So then I was in his corner. He hasn't looked good. He had that triple that I texted you. It's like you can't hesitate. Like he has not looked good when he's played. He has continued looking like he looked in spring training. He's just not getting opportunities, even though like some of the data says he's been okay. It's just hard for him to find a way in right now with the way everyone else is playing around. Like I said, Brennan should have had 2 hits yesterday. He's got 2 hits today. We talked about how good Freeman's been. No one's taking at bats from Quan. So Florial's now in this spot where it's like he's a DH or nothing. And
right.
It's hard for him to get time.
At this point.
No, you can't take out Freeman. And Brennan and Laureano are going to get a lot of time at DH and outfield right now with the way they're playing. So Florial doesn't have a home, and I don't know what you do, but I think he's here for a bit. Again, I think this is a team that takes forever to make big adjustments. You're right. Me saying Cookie's going to be gone. Like no one is gone until mid-May on this team. So, but unless they have to.
They've done a few surprising things. Yeah. So yeah. We'll see. I'm also interested to follow this. We have to get out of here, but Vogt pinch hit last night very quickly with David Fry for Will Brennan when Seattle brought a lefty in. Very quick with pinch hitting decisions. Something to monitor going forward. Something to monitor is coming back tomorrow for us recapping the game 2 matchup between Bieber and Castillo and looking at game 3 of this. And at some point we want to talk about Braden Montgomery as well, a little bit more in the draft. So we will be back tomorrow in your feeds talking about game 2. Hopefully a win for the Guardians, maybe a little bit of draft talk as well. And Braden Montgomery, another home run.
Another one. I hadn't seen that. What a day, what a week he's had, up to 6 in like 4 days. Hopefully the Guardians will be up to 6 wins very soon. Thank you all for listening, rating, and reviewing, downloading daily. Make sure you're an everydayer. Thank you all, and go Guardians, go get this win.